In a future where people stop aging at 25, time itself has become the ultimate currency. You earn it, spend it, and when your clock hits zero, you die. The rich live forever while the poor race against time just to survive another day. In this world, every heartbeat costs something, and every second counts. Will Salas, an ordinary factory worker, lives in the slums known as Dayton. Here, people wake up every morning not knowing if they'll live to see the night. The rich live in secure time zones with decades on their arms, while Will and his neighbors live hour to hour, always one payment away from death. One night, Will saves a mysterious man named Henry Hamilton from local gangsters called the Minutemen. Henry reveals a truth that shakes Will's world. There's more than enough time for everyone, but the system is designed to keep the poor dying. After a deep conversation, Henry transfers his century of time to Will and ends his own life. With 100 years glowing on his arm, Will crosses into New Greenwich, the city of immortals. But the timekeepers, led by the relentless Raymond Leon, notice his sudden wealth. To them, a man from the slums doesn't just get lucky, he must have stolen it. Will's time is now ticking in more ways than one. At a high society party, Will meets Sylvia Weis, the daughter of a billionaire who literally owns time. She's lived a century without aging, but she's never truly lived. When timekeepers crash the party to arrest Will, he takes Sylvia as a hostage, and together they escape into the ghetto. As fugitives, Will and Sylvia see both sides of the system, the desperate poor and the indifferent rich. With bounty hunters chasing them, they become modern-day Robin Hoods, stealing time from the rich and giving it to those who have none. For the first time, Sylvia realizes what it means to fight for every breath. Will and Sylvia infiltrate her father's vault, where millions of years are stored away while others die daily. They risk everything to release that time into the slums. Alarms blare, timekeepers close in, but the flood of time can't be stopped. Across the city, clocks reset. People who were dying suddenly live again. With the system collapsing, Will and Sylvia disappear into the horizon. The poor now have time, but the balance of the world is forever changed. They've stolen not just time, but hope. In a world where time once meant life or death, Will and Sylvia prove that some things are worth dying for, if it means everyone else gets to live. In the year 2169, humans stop aging at 25. But immortality comes with a cruel twist. Time has replaced money. The moment your internal clock runs out, your heart stops. The rich live forever, while the poor live minute to minute. In the slums of Dayton, Will Salas wakes every morning to a nightmare that never ends. His mother struggling to earn enough time to survive the day, workers collapsing in the streets as their clocks hit zero, and gangs stealing hours just to live another night. One night in a local bar, Will saves a man named Henry Hamilton from a group of Minutemen, street thieves who rob people of time. Henry reveals a chilling secret. The rich are immortal because the poor are meant to die. Before dawn, Henry transfers his century of life to Will and ends his own. Will rushes to share his newfound time with his mother, but fate is cruel. She dies just moments before he can reach her, her clock hitting zero as his fills with years. Grief turns to rage. Will swears he'll destroy the system that decides who lives and who dies. With 100 years on his arm, Will crosses into New Greenwich, the world of eternal youth. Here, time moves slower, literally. No one runs, no one hurries, because they can't die. For the first time, Will feels what it's like to breathe without fear, but he doesn't belong here. At a lavish party, Will meets Sylvia Weis, a young woman who's been 25 for over 50 years. She's beautiful, curious, and trapped in a golden cage. When her father arrives, the room freezes. He's one of the wealthiest men alive, owning thousands of years in his vault. The Timekeepers, a ruthless police force led by Raymond Leon, track Will's sudden fortune. To them, a man from Dayton having a century means one thing: he stole it. They seize everything he owns, forcing him to run once again. Cornered and desperate, Will kidnaps Sylvia and escapes the rich zone. But as the hours tick by, she starts to see his world, the poverty, the panic, the deaths. The truth shatters her perfect life. For the first time, she questions her father's empire. Will and Sylvia become fugitives, one running from the law, the other from her own past. But in their flight, a strange bond forms. She's no longer a hostage. She's a partner. Together, they plan something unthinkable. The duo starts robbing time banks, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. Across the ghetto, people's clocks flash back to life. Crowds cheer their names. To some, they're criminals. To others, they're heroes. But the timekeepers are closing in fast. The more time Will gives away, the more dangerous he becomes. Every heist fuels chaos. The economy of eternity begins to crack. The elites panic. If time becomes equal, their control ends. And for the first time, the rich feel fear. Sylvia confronts her father, demanding he release his hoarded time to the people. But he refuses, claiming that some must die so others can live forever. Her final goodbye is cold. She walks away, her mind set on burning the system down. Timekeeper Leon corners Will and Sylvia on the highway. Bullets fly, cars crash, and clocks tick down. Will barely escapes, but Leon's time runs out mid-chase. The hunter dies by the same rules he enforced, a victim of his own clock. Will and Sylvia break into the Weis Corporation's master vault, a fortress holding 1,000,000 years of time. With alarms screaming and guards closing in, Will uploads the years into the public system. A pulse of green light spreads across every time zone. Suddenly, millions of people in the ghetto watch their clocks reset. Hours turning to days, days to years. Chaos turns into celebration. The streets erupt with joy as the poor finally have more than just minutes left to live. The old system crumbles overnight. Factories stop, banks fall, and the time economy dissolves. The rich can no longer control the poor. For the first time in centuries, the world stands equal, but uncertain. Will and Sylvia watch from afar as people reclaim their lives. They become outlaws of legend, symbols of rebellion. The world has changed, but not without cost. They lost everything, except each other. In the distance, new cities rise, free of time zones, free of control. Humanity learns to live, not count seconds. Will and Sylvia disappear into the unknown, leaving behind a message written in eternity. No one should live forever. If someone else has to die for it, the world is free, but unprepared. Without the old system, cities plunge into confusion. People have time, but no structure. The government collapses overnight, leaving chaos in its place. Will and Sylvia realize freedom came with a price no one expected. Section 20, The New Order. Rise's former elites gather in secret, desperate to rebuild control. They form a shadow council, determined to restore balance. Their plan, reset the clocks of millions and restart the system from zero. Once again, humanity's survival hangs in the balance. Section 21, The People's Timekeepers. In the ruins of Dayton, ordinary citizens step up. Mechanics, teachers, and even ex-thieves work together to keep time flowing fairly. They form a new group, the People's Timekeepers, to protect the world from falling back into tyranny. Section 22, A City. Without clocks, Will and Sylvia find refuge in an abandoned city where people have erased their digital timers completely. They live without counting seconds, free from fear. For the first time, Will smiles. But deep inside, he knows peace never lasts. Section 23. The return of control whispers spread of a new form of currency, chrono tokens, controlled by the same corporations that once ruled the world. It's time disguised as freedom. The couple realizes history is repeating itself, and they can't let it happen again. Section 24. The last heist. Will and Sylvia plan one final mission, to destroy the central server where all remaining time data is stored. It's guarded by drones, soldiers, and the remnants of the old government. One mistake means instant death, but hesitation means losing everything they fought for. Section 25. Into the core, they break into the heart of the facility under cover of darkness. Alarms blare. The countdown begins. As explosions rock the underground vault, Will transfers every remaining second of stored time back into the system, free for all humanity. Section 26. The Sacrifice. As the building collapses, Will's timer runs dangerously low. Sylvia tries to save him, but he smiles. We finally gave them time. That's enough. He transfers his last minutes to her and collapses, his clock flashing 0. The world gains time, as he loses his. Section 27. The Woman Who Stopped Time. Sylvia emerges from the ruins with Will's final gift, the time to rebuild. She becomes the voice of a new world, vowing no one will ever buy or steal time again. Statues of Will rise in every city, his name whispered as the man who freed the world. Section 28, Eternity. Rewritten years later, the world has changed. Time is no longer currency. It's life itself, shared freely. Sylvia stands by a field where children play, each one born with an endless clock. She whispers to the wind, "He gave us forever." And as the sun sets, the world finally stops counting and starts living.